walking out of my shed and it sounds like World War II. We're getting a roof put on today. There's a rain chance coming in at about 3 o'clock, so hopefully they can get the old one off and the new one put on. But it sounds crazy out there. They got here, started working on this roof at 7:30. I came out like maybe 30 minutes later and our roof was gone. And by 10:30 this morning, they were completely done with it. There was about 13 of them, so they made light work of it, but we're pretty happy with it. It looks good. We're gonna paint the house probably sometime this summer, but I think that'll be the last step to kind of make this make it look good, because back here on the back is just still very dirty, even though I've pressure washed it one time. But our roof is done and I didn't have to do it. Today we're gonna tear off our siding. We have a soft spot on the Hardie board, and we found it after we bought the house. It's not a major deal. It's just we don't want it to continue to get worse, but also we don't want there to be mold or anything behind it. So we want to get in, repair what's maybe wet or rotten or both, and then replace what's on the outside. And then we're gonna paint the whole house eventually. So we'll go around the whole house caulking and painting. We're not gonna do that this time. But this is the setup. I had to move our carport out of the way. Use the tractor to do that. And then we went and bought all the Hardie board, or at least we think all the Hardie board, siding and trim, some sheathing, and just 2x4s in case we need those. So we're hoping that's all we're gonna need, and we'll see if we can get this done. So I'm inspecting where our Hardie board is soft from just being neglected for years. It looks like over here you can see there's like a butt joint in these two little thin strips of trim. Above that it's a little bit soft, but I think it's just because the water has wicked up. But past that, it starts getting very, very, very mushy. And down here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is just like, I can almost push my finger into it. I don't know what that was. I think that was a spider. You see, I think a lot of it is paint and caulk, and all that just wore out after years. And half of it is that, half of it is water was just able to get in through these joints. And you see down from here, it is just really bad. So I'm trying to determine now, do I rip the trim and the siding off all the way up to here and stop, and try to get a piece of Hardie board in behind that and maybe face nail it a couple of times? Or should I go all the way up and over to the window so I don't face nail it all? So that's my dilemma right now. So here's a closer up view of it. I'm down kind of level with the porch here. Real sway. Moment of truth. They did use a house wrap, and the sheathing is soft behind it. So we'll have to see what's up with that. I forgot to hit play a minute ago, but this is how far we've made it so far. It is very soft. We got all the house wrap on, and I kind of taped a couple of places where the old house wrap had holes in it. So tomorrow we're gonna start putting the trim and the siding on. When I bush hogged earlier this spring, I left this berry patch here, but everywhere I bush hog is actually making more berries than the berry patch. But you see we got all the new Hardie board, and all the trim is now Hardie board as well. We didn't end up going all the way up. We went to about right there on both sides, and I made like just kind of a little piece of flashing that goes up and behind the old trim and then over the new one, so if any moisture is behind there, it's kind of forced to come out. I still need to put the railing back on right here, but these posts are like, I don't know what you might call it, but they're like made in a factory. So you can tell there's like a piece of a 2x4 there. There's a piece here. There's another piece there. So I mean, there's literally pieces of 2x4 that long in some of these, and it just rotted at the bottom a little bit. So I actually have a spare one in the shop. You can see over here how it's not nearly as bad as the walls were, but while I have the railing off, I'm gonna go ahead and fix it. Put a piece of flashing right there just to kind of help prevent any more issues. And then like we said, we want to put gutters all along this roof line, and especially on the top up here, so that we don't have as much water coming down the front of the house right here in these bay windows. You see Bella in there looking at me. We're done with the siding, and we caulked it, and the Hardie board already has a primer on it. So we're gonna wait to paint it until we paint the entire house. That needs to happen pretty soon. So in the next couple of months, we'll probably do that and put some gutters on to prevent any more damage as best we can. Turns out the siding that was soft, the trim, wasn't really Hardie board. It was masonite, which is like a compressed wood fiber. It's a byproduct that they sell, and they still sell today with different names, but it's not Hardie board, so it was actually rotten, and the Hardie board was mostly fine. It was the sheathing and everything behind it that was, you could just grab handfuls of wood. So we ended up replacing a good bit of the floor joist and sheeting and all kinds of stuff.
During this process, when Stetson was under the house, he was actually fixing a soft spot that we have inside. The flooring had been soft from the water damage kind of leaking in the subfloor, and he was under there nailing and just making a whole lot of noise, not really thinking, and he heard a little noise in his ear and thought it was a bee in a can that was under there. And when he turned his head, it was actually a copperhead looking him in the eyes.
Yeah, most terrifying moment of my life. There was a lot of, and there still is a lot of trash under the house, so really should have cleaned that out a little better before I crawled under it, but we were just in such a hurry to get it done. But yeah, once I saw the eyes on that snake and his tongue like a foot from my face, I don't even know what happened. I just kind of blacked out, and next thing I know, I was like 100 yards from the house in the garden. And just thankful that I didn't get bit in the face or the neck.
Yeah, so got everything done, and Stetson didn't get bit in the face by a snake.
The moral of the story is snakes don't run away or slither away when you make a bunch of noise, or if you're stomping or whatever, things that we've always heard. He didn't care.
Yeah, we've always been told that if you make a lot of ruckus, like, the snake will run away because they're afraid of you. But even with Stetson, like, levitating and jumping out from under the house, the snake still wasn't afraid. And when we came back, it was still in the exact same spot. So he was able to pull it out and end it.
Yeah, we took care of him.